Right.
And I find that my clients get into that zone where they like the experience of meeting somebody new versus establishing a relationship or working to establish a relationship.
So have you ever had a client who's had difficulty dating because of the bigger, better deal? You know, the client who always wants the more interesting, more attractive client. How do you work with them to bring them back down to earth?
I have to say I have had clients that way, men in particular, and you know, we just get on a little hamster wheel for a little while, and as we go along, you know, we just keep pointing out how we're wasting time. It's unfortunate that people really need to do a little bit of that sometimes to get to a point where they realize, hey, I'm wasting my time here, and my priorities are not aligned correctly.
Right.
You know? And that's one of the things, even when you go online, you're so distracted. You do this, and then you go to the next one, and the next one, and it's always looking for the bigger, better deal. But basically, you're exhausted. You're exhausted all the time. So
Sure.
Sometimes you have to let people do that, and then reel them back in. And you know, when you do the feedbacks with them, you kind of point out what you're doing here, and hopefully you have to realize it yourself. As much as you try to prompt them to kind of get to a point where they know what they're looking for, it has to come from within. You can't push that on anybody.
You can't push it. You know, is it age specific though? Because I've noticed with my clients at 30, they'll kind of take almost anything. At 40, they're very specific. And then once they get older, it's like, as long as they're breathing, Paul, I'll take them. Have you noticed age specific when it comes to the bigger, better deal? Yes.
I would say yes.
I have not noticed age specific, but I think, again, I'm looking at it from perspective of 2015. I see it happening more and more. And I think online dating has something to do with it, because you can always get online and find yet another profile that you like.
Yes.
And I almost call it, it's almost like, I've heard it said on TV the other day about these women shopping for wedding dresses, that they're not necessarily looking for the wedding dress, they're looking for that wedding dress shopping experience.
Right.
And I find that my clients get into that zone where they like the experience of meeting somebody new versus establishing a relationship or working to establish a relationship. So there they are, perpetually looking back to me or looking back online to see if they can find something bigger and better. One of the things I usually tell my clients is to try to do this exercise where they close their eyes, not for a split second, but think about it across 3, 5, 7 days if you need to. But picture yourself 10 years from now, waking up next to the same person day in, day out. Would you want to wake up to next to this person that you've been dating? And then the answer is, you know what, it wouldn't be so bad. Done. You are done. But you want to wake up next to the person. But again, people think that something bigger and better is out there, and they just can't stop. Sure.
But isn't that a part of our personality? You know, I've heard about the whole concept of a maximizer versus a satisficer, where the maximizer wants the optimal in every situation. And we're almost trained, especially if we're type A or ambitious, to want the best. So is there anything wrong with wanting the best?
I think it's complicated. I think for guys in particular, as they get older and have not found what it was, the kind of woman that they thought they would find, and they're disappointed, then they start what I think of as a little bit of the opposite, and they start to settle in a way that you end up encouraging them really not to. So if your religious heritage has meant a lot to you up until this point, and you've met this really lovely person, but it just, every time you're with her, all you're ever thinking about is that this piece of our relationship has meant so much to me in my life. I don't know how I'm going to give that up and spend that kind of time with her. Then, even though all the other pieces fit, if that is somehow still an obstacle for you in a way that is profound, I'm not sure that we just have this. So I'm confused myself whether or not I'm advising somebody to settle for somebody that he really enjoys being with. They share a lot of things in common, but every single time we hear from him, it's about this gnawing.
Right.
Finally he woke up and just said, you know what? In a nice way, we have to just tell him this is not the person that he should marry. And you're right about waking up next to someone. And also just, we tell clients all the time, it isn't about a person that you are envisioning. It's about an experience. Are you reading the New York Times in bed on the Sunday morning? Are you out on a canoe in the middle of the rapids somewhere? Are you on the top of Kilimanjaro?
Sure.
Are you being served breakfast at Tiffany's? What's your vision? What's your picture of how you're going to be spending this time together?
Okay.
And if you can get it away a little bit from the person and what the experiences are that you'll share. I think people, sitting by a fireside on a Friday night and watching a movie, if you both love that, you are halfway there.
Sure. So this has been a great conversation. It really touches upon one of my favorite books, which is The Paradox of Choice by Barry Schwartz. And ultimately, in that book and in this discussion, we have discovered that less is more.